I know I'm pretty late to the party with this one. Dark Arisen came out in 2013, and I've owned the game for quite some time actually, but for some reason I just never gave it a real shot. I'm glad in a way that I waited this long because I feel like now is the perfect time to get into it. I don't know why it took me so long. I somehow let it slip past me, but I'm here now, the party's still going, and the new one's getting ready to start, and I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. Dragon's Dogma isn't like any game I've really ever played before. I don't know if there's any games out there like it. It's just kind of its own thing. I don't think there's anything like Dragon's Dogma except for Dragon's Dogma. I've been playing games for basically my entire life. I've played a lot of games that at the time I could have called my favorite, but over time some games just stood out more than others. I have fond memories of a lot of games I've played, but out of all the games I've played over the years, my favorite games ended up being Metal Gear Solid, all of them. Metal Gear made me truly fall in love with games and helped show me the potential games have to be more than just a simple game. And years later, I discovered Dark Souls. At first, I didn't understand it and I hated it, but for some reason, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I felt like I was missing something that everyone else understood, but for some reason, I didn't. Something about it though, it made me keep coming back to try again. And for whatever reason, eventually, it just made sense, and I couldn't put it down. It became my new favorite game, and again, it felt like more than just a game. It felt like a game that was made just for me, and as time went on, more of them came out. I ended up liking them so much that I wished every game was like Dark Souls. Much like how before I wished every game was like Metal Gear Solid. Now don't get me wrong, I had fun playing other games. I had a lot of fun playing other games, but none of them did for me what those games do for me. And I don't even know if I can put into words what they do. Maybe by the end of this video, I'll be able to figure out what that feeling is. But no other games have ever made me feel the same way, and it stayed like that for a long time. Until now. Dragon's Dogma doesn't do things the way we've all gotten used to over the years. There is no dodge roll unless you use a character that can unlock one, and there is no lock-on mechanic at all. There's not a lot of markers on the map. It might take you a while to find the next place you're supposed to be. The game does not hold your hand, and that lack of hand-holding makes you really think about what you're doing. You learn a lot by just exploring the world, and the game not telling you exactly where you're supposed to go helps you notice things that you might not notice otherwise. The game trusts you to learn on your own and to find things on your own, with it giving you just a small amount of direction, much like the Dark Souls games. It can be a little jarring at first, but I think it's that way on purpose. And as you play, things start to make sense and feel pretty natural. And figuring out the game on your own gives you a huge sense of accomplishment. Again, a lot like Dark Souls. This game relies a lot on not only you, but the team you bring with you. Don't neglect your main pawn. Your pawn is important. You gotta make sure you give them strong equipment and don't just focus on yourself. You can change your vocation, what the game calls your class, and you can also change your pawn's vocation and experiment with different weapons and abilities. Paying attention to what the pawns you hire are good at and what you and your main pawn are good at is really important to overcoming difficult obstacles. The pawn system in general is just really cool. I love that other people can use your pawn, and your pawn can bring back knowledge of quests you haven't even done yet. If your pawn has already done a quest with a different player and you take on that quest yourself, they can give you hints and even show you things you might miss or wouldn't have known otherwise. It's cool to think that someone out there might be using your pawn and they might be out there learning a bunch of useful things to bring back and show you, all while you're using other people's pawns and they're learning from being on quest with you. Not only is the gameplay fun and addicting, but the game manages to make its world feel incredibly immersive and alive with a lot of subtle details. You can do so many things that make you feel connected to the world, and there's things happening all around you that feel organic. And sure, it has its video game moments, but it also has its, oh wow, I can't believe the game does that moments. I love that you can try to trick an enemy and make them fall off a cliff, or even see if the enemy can slip and fall off the cliff on their own. Or you can pick up a big rock and throw it at an enemy if you want to. There's just something funny to me about being in the middle of a fight and picking up a big rock and lobbing it at your enemies. You can also break open boxes. The Dark Souls lover in me rejoices. But sometimes in this game though, you might actually find some hidden items in those boxes. I know this might not sound super inventive And other games let you throw rocks and break boxes, but somehow this game makes even these little simple things feel meaningful and immersive. A lot of other games, even games with big open worlds, sometimes feel pretty surface level. There might be a huge open world around you, but you don't always get to soak it up and really feel like you're part of it. Sometimes it feels like I'm seeing these worlds just kind of pass me by, and I don't really get a chance to really take them in and feel like I'm existing in them. Sometimes they feel like a giant set piece instead of a living world. Some could argue that Dragon's Dogma might even be more immersive than a game like Elden Ring. Elden Ring is more like, what if we used all the mechanics from the Souls games in an open world? And I love it for that. But Dragon's Dogma is an open world with its own organic way of interacting with it. It's not Elden Ring or any other game. It's really its own thing. It's hard to compare it to anything. It doesn't feel like, what if this specific thing was an open world game? There's more of you put into it and more of its world involved with it. Dragon's Dogma allows your own creativity to be front and center and feels more like you yourself are on an adventure, instead of what if the player character from a Souls game or any other game went on an open world adventure. If that makes any sense. A lot of things that happen in Dragon's Dogma can be a lot more random, but it's probably closer to Skyrim than a Souls game. But I'm mostly comparing it to Souls games because those are part of the main topics of this video. But like I said before, Dragon's Dogma isn't easy to compare to anything else. The art design is nice too. It doesn't have the best graphics in the world, but I can't stop admiring the scenery. There are some genuinely beautiful locations in this game. There's lots of little details that make the game feel alive. The way the water ripples as it approaches the shore. The way you can hear the wind blowing as the grass and trees move in the wind. The animals living their lives alongside you and everyone else. The day-night cycle. That reminds me, be careful in the dark. The day-night cycle isn't just a visual difference. A lot of things are dependent or affected by the passage of time. It's impressive how many subtle things in this game work together to make the world feel alive. And can we take a moment to appreciate this NPC sweeping the floor in a line and not just standing still? I don't know why, but this just kind of blew my mind when I saw this. He's just sweeping down a line and he gets to the end and turns and you see a little dust fly up. And it's just cool to see, especially in a game that's as old as something from 2013. Little details like this is what I'm talking about. I'm glad I found the game I love just as much as I loved Metal Gear Solid and the Dark Souls games. But it's not a Metal Gear Solid game, and it's not a Dark Souls game. It's Dragon's Dogma. I finally found something new and unique that feels like it was made for me. I finally found a new game that I'm not wishing was something else. Few games have made me fall in love with them in a way where when I'm not playing them, I'm thinking about them. When I'm not playing, I'm imagining what I'll find next or where I'll go next, what kind of build I'll try or what kind of enemies I'll find. Even if I've played these type of games before, I still think about them. And I miss being in those worlds when I'm not in them. And when I am actually playing them, I love that everything happening around me feels familiar, but also new and exciting somehow. I think about all the possibilities that lie before me and I keep moving forward, never being let down by how wild my imagination could get, because the actual experience was always so much better than I even imagined. I think I know what that feeling is I was talking about. When I play a game like this that truly connects with me, I feel a comfort and a familiarity that I only feel in one other place. When I play a game like this, I feel at home. And I can't tell you how happy that makes me feel. I am so excited that I have a new game that I can connect with and a new game that I can look forward to. I'm just happy and excited. I guess that really about does it for the video. I just wanted to share my excitement of this game with you, even though I'm really late and everyone else has probably already played it. I'm just super excited to have something new that I can look forward to. And if you did watch this video, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me. Don't forget that wolves hunt in packs, and maybe I'll see you around on the internet again someday. Later.